Okay, welcome back. Yeah, I don't know what to do. I got a religious note today. I guess if you guys don't help me with topics, then you're at the mercy of my notes. That's all I have left. Um, uh, I did have one other thing that I thought was kind of funny. Um, I get kind of anxious about when I comment to people because I've been kind of saying the same thing. Like I'll say, well, that's so nice. Thanks for saying that. I really appreciate that, what you're saying, and it really helps me. And it's really nice. And I just kept, I feel like if I keep getting more comments, I'm just going to keep saying the same thing. And people are going to be like mad at me because I'm saying the same thing to everybody. So it'll seem insincere. um, like, they'll be like, you said you really appreciated that guy's comment, but you also said you really appreciate my comment, so which one is it? People don't act like that, but I'm worried about it. Ooh, this guy's tough. Yeah, I have a religious note. Oh, look at my nose. It's um, um, I like the church that I go to. I like the pastor. I think he's good. He seems smart and um, he doesn't get into territory very often where I'm like, where he gets like, I don't know. I mean, he's a good Christian. He's all about love, and so it's hard to disagree with stuff that he says. So, um, um, does he give me something? Oh, well, it's not nothing. Thank you. Thank you's always nice. He mentioned last week something that a lot of Christians talk about, which is he used the example of a blender. I think there's a name for it. It's like the watch something. The idea is like, if you're in a field and you walk and you see a watch in the field, you know that the watch didn't come from nowhere. Somebody made it. Somebody made the gears. Somebody made the hands. The mechanisms, you can tell that it was made by a person who's smart and knows stuff. Sandcastle secret. And so the same thing is true with the universe. You see the planets and everything, and you're like, well, how could this be created by nothing? I guess I try not to dismiss that too easily, but it doesn't really make sense to me. Where's the sandcastle? I guess it just bothers me in general when people try to make logic out of like something that's illogical. They try to, and they get like upset. The thing that bothers me the most is they get upset when science says something that kind of disagrees with something in the Bible. It's like, well, God isn't like the Bible isn't a science book. it's not a. I don't know. It's like just two separate things. God and is by its definition unknowable, so there's no way that science could be involved with God. It's just two separate things. So people get upset when they're like, well, evolution says this, but the Bible says that. Well, I mean, the Bible doesn't say anything about science. It's not a science book. It's not a history book, really. I mean, it's the history of humanity in a general sense, if that makes sense. But it's not like I mean, this is just what I believe, but it's not like, well, the Bible says that the universe was created in 6 days, so it was created in 6 days. I mean, why does that have to be true for me to be a good person, for me to be a Christian? Why is that important? I don't think it is important. That's all science stuff. I don't really know what I'm doing. So yeah, I don't know, I'd like to eventually, when I get more comfortable talking, I'd like to talk to my parents, because I don't think they don't think evolution is a thing, which is like weird. It's like, well, it's just science. I mean, you believe that gravity is a thing, so why can't you just believe evolution is a thing? Doesn't disprove anything that you believe. Are there red coins in there? I just want to get the red coins, baby. A big part of being a religious person is belief and faith, and like we're believers. We're not knowers. We don't know anything. We just believe it. Because you're allowed to believe whatever you want. So why wouldn't I just believe that God exists if I'm allowed to? And Jesus was a person, and he was a man, and he was God, and he died, and he came back. I'm allowed to believe whatever I want, so I choose to believe that. The thing I don't get is the global warming. Okay, there's no red coins here. Why don't Christians believe? I never really have gotten an answer on that. I think I've Googled it a couple times, but I don't really know. It seems like Christians are against global warming for some reason. The thing that I think I remember is, like, it says in the Bible that God will protect the earth or something, so we don't have to worry about the weather or something like that. It's kind of silly. It's like, well, I think that we'll be okay with global warming, but bad stuff's gonna happen. Like, there's gonna be floods, and there's gonna be droughts and hurricanes, and people will die because of it. But I don't know, I'm optimistic that we'll be able to figure out something. Where am I? Oh God, what have I done? Oh. One of these sandcastles does something. I had another note about... Maybe I have to save this one for tomorrow. Yeah, I guess. There it is. Yes, I guess it's just frustrating whenever Christian people try to make sense out of something that doesn't make sense. And they're like, there's that terrible video online where it's like, the atheist's nightmare is a banana, and that guy is like, he makes Christians seem so stupid. He's like, bananas were designed by God because they fit perfectly in your hand, and it's like, ugh, what are you talking about? Oh no. I don't know why we're still at that point where like Christians are arguing science stuff. It seems like that should have been resolved a long time ago. Like, we're not scientists. The Bible isn't a science book. Ah. Okay, go and then do a backflip. Nope. Is that a game over? Okay. 2 lives, 1 life. I mentioned this before about like the gay marriage thing too. It's like it causes so much stress for people. They feel like they feel like when people talk about science, they're dishonoring God or something, and then they have to like defend God, and then they get upset about everything, and then oop, this is hard. It's like, well, just relax. You don't have to be a scientist. You don't have to argue about this stuff. You just have to be a good person, and then people will become Christians when they see you're a good person. And God, this is tough. I remember watching a debate between Bill Nye and some creationist guy. That was hard to watch. Oops, I went the wrong way. Let's get this. I mean, Bill Nye should just start by saying, like, what are we doing here? Like, why are you arguing about stuff you don't know anything about? And it's a lot of creationism is working backwards from a conclusion, which is always a bad idea in science. It's like the Bible says the earth was created in 6 days. That's the conclusion. Now let's find evidence to fit that. It's like, well, you can probably find evidence, but that doesn't mean that it's you're doing it the right way or the right process. Should I ask a question? I mean, if people want to, I'm open to anything. I mean, that's I try to be open-minded about everything. So if you want to talk about it in the comments, I never really get many comments, so I'll see it and I'll be nice to you. I promise. Like, you can disagree with anything I said. I mean, I disagree with myself all the time. So. I don't know, I go back and forth, I guess. Like, well, should you have certain things that you are really firm on, that you believe, like principles that you don't change no matter what? Or should you be like super open to anything? And you gotta find a balance, I guess. Like, but yeah, I guess the thing is just people have different opinions, and it doesn't help to be angry about it. Like, okay, you can believe what you want, and it is I guess it does kind of bother people when like they argue about climate change and one side has a lot of evidence and one side doesn't, and then you're like, well, maybe make policies based on evidence and not on a book, and that was written 2,000 years ago. But if whatever, okay. I'll do this next time. One more episode today. Okay. See you tomorrow.